Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the next episode of Mouthwash. We're going to talk about some different stuff today. Of course, again, usually I talk about cars, but Um, oh, I have realized that the top has. Hold on. The title has not changed on um, the top of the screen. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. Um, we're going to talk about a couple things today, and one of them has snuck through. Apparently, you can already see that. There we go. I'm just not doing very good today, apparently. Every everything that I prepare for ahead of time is just broken. Um, so a couple things to talk about today. Mostly cars. I really don't have anything local news for me to talk about. Usually, I'll rant about stuff going on in Virginia Beach and all of that. Um, Other than one crazy thing that happened, I will mention that first because I forgot about this. On one of our major roads, someone crashed into a house, of all things. And that just surprises me because that just never happens, and that's right down the street from me, pretty much. Um, so cars, no car bad. So we're gonna first talk about something that I doubt many people have seen because no one really cares about this other than me, it seems. Um, I'm going to talk about the leaked Prius shots. Now, there's not a lot of detail, obviously, because it's wrapped. Also, the resolution of all these photos is really weird. That's why they're kind of cropped off a little bit. Um, Obviously, it's wrapped with a anti-spy shot cover, but we can still see it. You can still see that as a car. Um, so I am almost 100% certain that this is a Prius. This is taken in Japan. I forgot what website I've pulled this off. It's like Car Blurb or something like that. It was taken in Japan, in and around an area where Toyota occupies, and you can kind of see in the background that this may be a fleet move. This may be something that Toyota's doing because in a couple shots you see Venzas and a couple of Lexuses. Um, Now, I'm not saying that Toyota maybe, or it's possible that Toyota was driving this around. Um, in front of this shot, in front of it is a Lexus. I think that's a NX or one of those UX, and there's a Venza in the back of this picture. Now Toyota may be driving this somewhere out of a port or out of their headquarters, because the CEO Toyota um, is very into driving the cars himself, and he's very into racing. So it really, really would not surprise me that they came and picked him up in the Prius to drive it around a bit, and that's why there's a couple other Toyotas around this cars because they're following him to take him to a track or something to drive this thing around. But it very, very, very much looks like a Prius. It looks like the concept sketches that have come out a couple months ago. It has, behind my head, it has the distinctive new Toyota EV headlight design, which is like the lobster claw C, and then the back of it is very Prius. However, it does not have, or at least in this covered state that it had, you can see the split headlight. Um, at least in this covered state, we can't see if it has the split glass window that the Prius has always had. Now, to me, I'm excited because as you see here, it looks like it's still a hatchback, or I'm I would bet money that whatever car this is going to be a hatchback. But it looks very, especially this picture, distinctly looks like a Prius. Now, this could be a Prius, or, you know, Toyota may go a different direction and make a hatchback Corolla. So they may labels this as the Corolla hatchback. Now there already is the Corolla hatchback, but that's a small car, and this could be a competition for the Civic hatchback, which is still the size of the sedan, but it has a hatchback instead of being chopped off like the Corolla or the Corolla hatchback is. But I am very, very, very confident that this is a Prius. This is the new next generation Prius. It looks like a hatchback. It has four doors, obviously. The back doors, the handles are in the C pillar. As you can see here, they're not at the level that the front door is. It distinctly looks like a Prius. And I'm going to show you these concepts that it looks very, very much like. I'm going to hide it there. It looks so similar to this. I think this is a rework of one of the original concepts that had came out, or one of the concept drawings that came out, but they reworked it to fit in with the spy shots. This looks distinctly like a Prius, and this looks very, very similar. You can see the headlights. Um, it looks very, very Prius. And I'm extremely excited because, again, as I continue to say, I want to buy a Prius. I know that I say I'm getting old. I'm only in I'm literally only 20. I'm getting old, and eventually I will like, if I don't live somewhere where there's good public transit, if I have to drive a car, which where I live now, I can't take public transit, which is what I always constantly fight for because, urbanism is the only way to go. But since I have to drive a car, I want to drive a hybrid. And right now, I don't have to worry about having a car that's high up for me to get in and out of because I'm tall, but right now I don't care. Um, I am very, very, very confident that this is what the Prius is going to look like. I'm not going to really pass judgment on the way it looks, at least because other than the spy shots, I'm not going to pass judgment on these two pictures of this concept because this is not the final form and this is not how it's going to be. And I'm not going to say that this person is the utmost, authority on this is 100% what the Prius is going to look like. But if this was going to be the Prius, I'm saddened that they have not brought back the split glass tailgate. But everything else, it kind of has weird proportions. Again, this is art, so I'm not really going to talk about that too much. Um, my I'm going to go back to spy shots. My guess that I have said before, that I continue to claim now, my pipeline for assumption is that the Crown nameplate will bring a new generation of cars to the Toyota name underneath it. So the Toyota Crown Cross, which is what's out right now, but it's just called the Crown, but it's going to be the Crown Cross. The Crown right now is built on a new platform with the new iForce, the new iForce EV, or not EV, hybrid system. The next one that's going to come out in the lineup is that sporty looking crossover, whatever the hell you want to officially call it, crossover looking SUV, which I think now looking back on it is going to be an EV, which saddens me because I hate fully EVs because they're terrible for the environment. It would upset me if that is true, but I wouldn't doubt it because Toyota doesn't really have a competition for the Model Y, and that would be something that Toyota would want to do, and that would get its name out. Oh, Toyota's making EVs now. Um, but I really think that Toyota has a big opportunity to steal back customers from the Model 3 with the new Prius. Because again, do never buy an electric car. If you buy an electric car, you're a moron because batteries wear out fast, very fast, especially if you're fast charging them all the time. Even more if you're fast charging them all the time. What the hell are you going to do with a giant lithium battery after it loses all of its charge? They're terrible for your environment. They're terrible for end of use and recycling of electric cars and the vehicle itself and the battery. Just build public transit. I just do not support electric cars. Anyway, Prius, competition for the Model 3, whatever the Crown SUV is going to be a competition for the Model Y. And then the third of the lineup is a pure Crown sedan, not a crossover and not a station wagon like the Crown, like the current one that's out is trying to be. That third Crown is a pure sedan. And my prediction is that that sedan will, one, bring a new generation of Camry, because the current Camry is like, I think, 7 years old at this point. I think it was 2016 that that one came out. Um, don't quote me on that. I think it's 7 or 8 years at this point that the Camry's been out. So it's time for a new Camry. That will bring a new Camry, and my assumption is that the new Camry platform will bring a new Prius. And that's what I think this is. This is a very early spy shot of it. I don't think it's out yet. I think that this will come out in succession with that sedan Camry, or that sedan Cross plus Camry. And then the fourth Crown lineup, the fourth of the Crown lineup is a um like a big SUV station wagon, which in my mind says it's going to be the new Forerunner. I've talked about this in the first Mouthwash um, a month or two ago when I did the first one. I went way into my conspiracy theory with the Crown nameplate and what Toyota is going to do with that. Um, but right now we're looking at this. It looks, to me at least, like it is smaller than a Camry. It looks, especially this with someone sitting in it, it looks maybe just a little bit bigger than a Corolla, which kind of is where the Prius sits. The Prius is kind of a middle between the Corolla and the Camry. So it may not be exactly the size of a Camry, but it very, very, very much looks like a Prius, and I'm very excited because I want a Prius. I want this. I want the next Prius. I want the new one. Um, I obviously can't afford it. I'm gonna have to finance it. I don't have the money for that. Um, but it looks very good. I'm very excited. And again, I can bet so much money that this is a Prius. It looks Prius, especially with the concepts, with the A pillar and the B pillar, that the swoop down from the roof line to the hood looks so much like a Prius. The wedge shape that the Prius has always been. Um, I really liked the I like the proport because it still exists. I like the proportions of the current Prius because it makes it look long. It makes it look thin and long, and I like that. I like the size and the flat angles of the current one, because the current one kind of looks like, the best thing I can describe to is a Cybertruck, where the front is a flat line and the back's a flat line. Um, I very much am into that. This one, we'll see when it gets released to the public and it gets its wrapper peeled off and we get to see what's under the spy shot. Um, though I am again very much looking forward for this. Um, very much into seeing how this works. Seeing what range there probably is going to be um, a what am I thinking about? A prime version. So maybe the prime will be different. Um, I wouldn't put that past Toyota either. I wouldn't put it past Toyota to make two distinctly different cars. Um, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see um, if they decide to go that direction. Because right now the Prius, the regular Prius, and the Prius Prime, are distinctly two different cars. Under the hood, they're virtually the same. I think the Prime has a little bit bigger of a battery, and then obviously you can actually plug in the 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 Prime. But the normal Prius is just a regular, EV or a regular hybrid. So I'm doing something in the background, making the next step. I'm looking forward, and I want to rant about the next. Getting the thing set up right now. I'm thinking about what I'm saying while I'm talking to you. Um, I want to use the new Prius as a pivot into complaining about EVs again, as I always do. Um, the next one that exists is from Kia. And Kia, unfortunately, again, has fallen into the EV the EV pool, and I don't like that, and I don't think that that was a good idea. But they have now brought out the wait, huh? Oh, there is. Okay, so there's a the new Nero, which is what I want to talk about next. Um, good lord, why is give me one moment as I try to make this fit into my my little window. Why is this so big? They're very high resolution pictures apparently. There we go. Um, the new Nero, which I always found to be kind of a weird car that Kia had. The new Nero comes in three flavors. It comes in hybrid, PHEV, plug-in hybrid, and fully electric. Which, I mean, out of everything that they could have done, I say that that's a good choice for Kia because it, just like what Toyota's doing, it gives Kia a range of flavors for people to purchase when they actually go to buy a car. You're not forcing people to only buy one type of car. And that's the whole point that the auto industry should be. The auto industry should not pivot towards whatever the new fad is. There should be options in every step because you don't know what's gonna flunk, because the EV market, give it a couple of years, isn't gonna last very long. Tesla's not gonna last very long. Tesla is going to be a little handful of expensive luxury sport cars, and it's going to die and its stock is going to plummet because EVs, once people finally figure out that EVs are not the future, terrible for the environment, and do not last as long as even hybrids do, then people are gonna swap back to hybrids and um, regular combustion engine cars. Hybrids are the most efficient form of automotive because you are carrying a generator around with you. And most people in the world, most people in in metropolitan United States live within 20 miles. They can commute 20 miles a day. And if you give them that range, or I've got what the number is, but even 15 miles, if you give them that range on a daily basis and you allow them to plug in their vehicle, like the Prius Prime, you do not need a car to last 320 miles on one charge. My RAV4, which is a pure combustion, makes about 280 miles before I have to fuel it up again, and that's even me getting to like a quarter tank. But if you drive a hybrid and you can plug it in at home, then you don't need to have all of that range for something you're barely going to use. And if you do need the extra oomph, then you have the gasoline engine to back up and also to charge the battery back up. So why the fuck would you buy an electric car? I just don't understand. It has to be that people who buy electric cars are just morons. That's the only thing. They're playing into the corporate jargon of Elon Musk and other, executives of companies that are fully pushing EVs, that they're the new environment, they're saving the environment by driving an electric car. Yes, okay, your car driving around is not producing carbon monoxide, but do you know how much fucking carbon dioxide was made and how much fresh water was wasted mining lithium? And also, they're so much more expensive. And how do you recycle the damn thing? Do not buy an electric vehicle. If you buy an electric vehicle, you are a moron. That is the only thing that I will continue to say. Buy a hybrid or a pure combustion car. If you can, live a car-free life and use public transit. That is the only way to save the environment, is to build electric trains, not electric cars, and not battery trains, electric grid trains. If you build a battery train, that's even worse. Why would you build a battery train? I don't understand. Build electric trains and better public transit. You do not need to drive if you have public transit. It's all these rich fucking pompous ass white people that live in middle fucking suburban America that don't want to change their life, that want to live the status quo, but, quote, save the environment by driving an electric car. That's the whole point. Elon Musk owns a car company. Elon Musk does not want to solve the environment by creating a better society. He wants to sustain the status quo by selling electric cars so that people keep driving cars. Elon Musk will never support any form of public transit unless it's a tunnel with his own damn cars in it, but he will never support a form of public transit because then he wouldn't make any money off of selling cars. Is that not something that people have thought about? Is that not dots that you've connected? That a man that owns a car company wants you to continue to buy cars? Is that not something that anyone has ever thought about? I just don't understand that these... apparently, I'm just too fucking big brain to fall for fucking commercialism in the automotive market. Is that just too hard to understand? That people who make cars only make money when you buy cars? That's why car companies like Chevy or GM, Ford, Stellantis, and all of them are pushing EVs because they make money selling cars. And to continue the status quo of you buying a car every 5 to 10 years, they need to continue making cars that follow market trends. And right now, the market trend is following dumb, stupid people who think that EVs are the new future, because that's not changing the status quo. We will still have 16-lane highways poured through the center of cities. Do not support electric cars. Do not support any car company that is pushing pure electric vehicles because they say it's the new future. Do not change the status quo. Just give us money so we can keep making the same fucking thing with a different engine in it. That's why I love Toyota. Because Toyota has continued to not dump headfirst into the EV market because they realize it's a stupid investment. It's better. Again, Toyota wants to sell cars. Toyota still wants to sell cars, but Toyota is not dumping into the EV market because it's more sustainable to build combustion electric or combustion engine cars and hybrid cars. And Toyota is a global market. How do you think thousands of EVs will take to our electric grid? Has no one thought about that? And in developing countries and smaller countries that do not have the electric infrastructure to charge electric cars, Toyota still sells cars there. So Toyota can't jump head first into the EV world and sell 100% only EVs, because there's a shit ton of places in the world that Toyota sells vehicles that cannot support electric vehicles, because electric vehicles consume massive amounts of energy to charge them. When you could, oh, I don't know, build a train or light rail or just a bus, and not a battery electric bus, a regular bus. And if you want a battery electric bus, just connect it to some wires. Oh, wait, that's just a tram. Or in the US, we call it light rail because we don't want to be compared to Europe for some fucking reason. Tram, light rail, same thing. I think every episode of my podcast is now just turning into me complaining about electric cars constantly. This, I support. Kia is not only pushing EVs. Kia is still supporting hybrids and plug-in hybrids. That is what I want. That is what this segment is about. I want to continue to praise the handful of automakers that are not dumping on the Elon Musk meme bandwagon and going full EV. Again, I say this with pure confidence in myself. I have absolutely no evidence to back this up, but I have not researched, or I have just been too lazy to look it up myself. But this is my opinion, so whatever, I don't care. I am almost 100% sure that automakers get some kind of tax relief credit in the United States for building electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles. And that's something that I'm fairly certain that's happened recently, that has passed within this election cycle or within the past, 5 or 6 years, that has happened, that has made all these American automakers that have not supported EVs and hybrids for decades now randomly deciding to make electric cars. Think about this. These automakers that have been staunchly opposed to electric vehicles for so long are finally now realizing how profitable the bandwagon is, so they're jumping on it at the last second. I don't support any automaker that dumps headfirst into the EV market, and now these people on the back end that are dumping into the EV market just because they go, oh shit, we should have been doing this the whole time. don't buy an electric car. Just don't. Buy a hybrid. Buy a hybrid. Buy a regular combustion engine car, or live a car-free life. I unfortunately live in a place where I cannot do that, so I am forced to have a car. There is absolutely, virtually no public transit in the city of Virginia Beach. There's about 2 bus lines, and if I wanted to get from my house to work, it would take about 2 hours, and I don't have the time of day for that. And also, HRT doesn't run buses that late into the night. So, I cannot live a car free diet. I support every opportunity I can for public transit to be supported in my city and in our metro. But unfortunately, as I've said before, Virginia Beach is full of white, old, rich white people who don't want to change the status quo and think that people who ride public transit are stinky, dirty homeless people. That is a terrible mindset to have, and I cannot wait for baby boomers to die, because then the world will be a better place. Because people like that, who do not support public transit or do not support a change of the status quo, are the reason why the world is as terrible as it is. We need young people on city councils, not people who are in their 70s who have lived in cities and don't want to see it change. Because that's not how things work. That's not how you grow a society, is by letting the old people who want it the same way continue to make it the same way. That's not how you grow a society. That's how you sustain the status quo. So I will forever that I live in this city until I move somewhere with better public transit, hopefully Seattle, would be buying a combustion car or buying a electric or a hybrid or plug-in hybrid. That's why I want a Prius. I am not a Tesla lover. Again, obviously, I fucking hate Tesla. Tesla lives off a meme economy, and Tesla's only making electric cars. Do not buy an electric car. You are a moron. If you still want to be, quote, sustainable and have an electric car that you will use on your daily life for, from home to work and work to a shop and then a shop to home, get even a plug-in hybrid. I mean, a Prius Prime. Prius Prime, you can plug it in. Why not buy a plug-in hybrid, install a level 2 charger at your house, petition your work to install a level 2 charger at work, and then shop at places that they are extremely prevalent now, because fucking people keep buying electric cars, but it's extremely prevalent to find EV chargers just scattered around the world now. And not superchargers, because again, level 3 fast charging ruins your battery. Buy a Prius Prime or another plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Buy this thing. I don't care. Buy a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle and charge your car at home. Charge the little battery in your car at home, and you can last on that battery as much as you drive around on your daily life. Do you really put 300 miles on your car in a day? Really? Do you really think that you need that much range when you live in a city and you live, 15 miles away from work? I think it's I'm 9 miles away from my job. It takes me 20 minutes to get to my work on the highway. Do you really need a car that has 300 miles of pure EV range? Again, my RAV4 lasts 280 miles to a quarter tank when I fill it up every 2 weeks. In theory, you would only need to charge your Tesla every 2 weeks. In the amount of time that I drive, it would take me 2 weeks to run my Tesla's battery down. Why? Why would you buy something like that? I would much rather have a Prius Prime, drive it around, even drive it in pure EV mode, Get home at night, plug it in, level 2 relatively slow charging, even trickle charging. Plug it in when I get home on trickle charge. By the time tomorrow afternoon, when I need to go back to work, my car will be charged again. And I can drive the same way to work with the same amount of battery. Does that not does that not make sense? Is there something about that that does not make sense to someone with complex thought? What world does that not make sense? That you think that it is better to buy a pure electric vehicle with 300 plus miles of range when you drive for 20 minutes a day at maximum if you go from home to work every day and then from work to home. I mean, I relatively go out like every other day. Like I'll go out and go shopping or go to the grocery store or go see my grandmother. I mean, again, I live about 9-10 miles away from my work, and it takes me about 15 to 18 minutes. I've timed it about 15 to 18 minutes for me to get to work. And every 2 weeks, I'll have to fill my car up on 3/4 because I'm left a gallon or left a half or a quarter tank left. I will never ever use an EV all the way down to um I will never run an EV down in a day. Even again, Prius Prime, even if I don't have a level 2 charger at work, I could still drive to work. A Prius Prime has like 50 miles of range. Even the RAV4 Prime has like 50 miles of pure EV range. That would last me like 2 days of me going to work, even on the battery. I wouldn't even need to run the gasoline engine. I could just run purely on the battery. Of course, the way that it works, the way that the battery system works, if you have it in normal mode, when you're getting on the highway, it'll kick the engine on. But you get my point. If you keep it in pure EV mode, I could last that battery 2 days without even needed charging it. So, just think logically. If you ever imagine yourself getting an electric car or buying an electric car, think logically how much you will actually use the fact of it being an electric car. Are you just going to buy an electric car and still use it the exact same way that you drive your normal car? So then what have you gained by buying an electric car? The arbitrary incorrect thought that you're saving the environment? Is that all you've gained because you have an electric car, even though you still drive the same way to work every day, the same amount? There's all this range anxiety about, oh, I don't know if it'll have enough range. Oh no, is 300 miles? How often do you really drive more? How often do you go on road trips? Yes, if you go on road trips, that's something to think about. It's something to think about. You have to plan ahead and charge your vehicle. But if you have a hybrid, you don't need to plan ahead because you're carrying a generator around with you. So you could ride on pure EV, and then when you run your EV out, you can just drive a normal car. Huh. Wow. And I've only spent $30,000 on this car and not 100. Electric vehicles will eventually turn into luxury toy playthings that only rich people can buy. That is what I want to leave you with. And again, it now seems like Mouthwash is just turning into me ranting about electric cars. But at this point, I see electric cars in the news every single day, and I finally want people to start realizing that you need to stop fanfaring over electric vehicles. Build public transit. Rally your municipality, your local jurisdiction, to build better public transit. Because that's how you save the environment and that's how you make a better society. Not a car with four wheels with a battery strapped to it. That's not going to save the environment and that's not going to change society. You're driving the exact same thing as you used to drive. It's still a car. It's still a big metal box. It still has four wheels. It's just those four wheels are powered by a different form of energy, not an engine. They're powered by a big giant battery. You think about that. Think about how much has changed since you bought an electric car. Nothing. Society is not going to change because a couple thousand people buy electric cars. It's still a car. It's still a car. It still has four wheels. If anything, it's heavier than a regular car, which means it's causing even more damage to the pavement because heavier vehicles do more damage to asphalt. That's the reason why there's potholes, is because trucks drive on asphalt. Your car, your Model 3, is a lot heavier than my RAV4 is. Just think about that. Think about all the money you wasted on an electric car. Love you all. I'm done ranting. Really, all I wanted to rant about was electric cars today. I think I'm gonna stream City Skylines here in an hour or so. So I love you all. Follow me on YouTube. I always post the VODs there. Um, I'm always active on Twitter. I constantly rant about public transit and stuff on there too. Join my Discord. We have some fun there, trying to get people to join that. So, anyway, love you all. Hopefully, you have a good night. Don't buy an electric car. Just don't. Don't do it. Love you. Bye.